Today we're in the installation of Miya Hannan's brand new work called Reverberation. This is 3 or 4 bodies of work, and Miya is here to talk a little bit about each of them.
These drawings are made using candle suits. I draw upside down using a candle. The idea came from, actually, I'm inspired by a cremation process. When I was a child, my grandpa died, and that was my first this ritual experience. And after we put grandfather to the cremation machine, we went outside to see smoke comes out. And as a child, that gave me an idea that my grandpa, didn't really die, but just changed the form. Same as a science, nothing really disappeared. Physical body just turned into be a memory or story or something intangible, but it's still there. I wanted to use suits because of the my memory, but also idea of fluidity and also temporality, still there and not there, that kind of in between state. That's what suit does to me. Yeah.
So each of these drawings has a matching chair. Can you discuss the 3D sculptures?
Yep. So, like I said, I wanted to sort of use the idea of, for example, death to be another form of being alive, or physicality never disappear but just change form. So first I found the chairs, used chairs that somebody used, and started sanding down, so that physicality somehow changed form. But then wanted to use drawing to feel that disappeared part of the chair. So they're sort of working together. Physicality changed to illusion.
And yet the chair is represented intact in the drawing, and it's almost a skeleton.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely I was thinking of a skeleton. I just wanted to make a skeleton of a chair as a remains of individuals. It's acted like a portrait. Yeah.
So this piece, can you talk about that a little bit?
This is what I call introduction piece. I always like to have entrance piece to my whole show to give the viewers idea about my show. I just wanted to indicate that I'm winding time here to wake the history up that is hidden in the soil. So that was kind of my way of opening this exhibition.
As a winding time backwards?
Yeah, so that we can recall the history.
Miya, tell me about this body of work. This is very interesting.
Yeah, this is called footsteps.
Footsteps, yeah.
Footsteps. I was thinking about, I actually collect soil from a historical site. Various places I visit and collect soil where history happened. And I was thinking about, a land, how many people went through this one spot of land? When somebody lose land, somebody else gaining the land. If somebody leaves the land, somebody else comes, and all those footsteps that create layers of histories. That's what I was thinking when I was creating this. So different heights indicate different time, different layers. And each jar contains different footsteps.
A mason jar preserving a footprint.
Yes.
Footstep.
Footsteps. all these are coming from the same landscape. I just cropped images from one photo. When you crop image in a long skinny way like this, it's a moment of time. So each one is a moment of time within the same landscape.
Miya, what are these two bodies of work called?
Okay. So it used to be certainty, but now I decided to call the sculpture as certainty and the drawing as uncertainty. For me, 3D object or sculpture is always physicality or reality. Two-dimensional work is always illusion. So,
Miya, can you tell us about this installation here? What's its title?
it's called resonance.
Resonance.
It is based on Asian history around this area. The history that is almost forgotten, but needs to be remembered.
What is in the mason jar?
So each column represents a historical site, and each mason jar has soil from that particular location and object that we call the history or object that I picked up from the location. So this one has gold ore and Chinese coin.
And from what location is this?
This is where the Chinese town was in Dayton City.
And this one?
This one was Chinese town in Virginia City after Dayton City's Chinatown was burned down. People moved to Virginia City.
And the sculpture behind, can you talk a little bit about that?
That part. This actually is the shape of a Truckee River. All those Chinese histories happened around Truckee River.
So it's a geographical,
Yes.
accurate shape of
shapes.
Truckee.
Yeah, and then these columns are located at the exact location in relation to Truckee River.
Okay. And so the silk fabric, what does that represent?
To me, the something rising up, same as the idea of soup, something temporal, something that turning to be or change from physicality to airy thing. So I wanted to connect physicality of soil with something rising.
So each of these pillars is accurately placed along the Truckee River. What is the one that you're standing nearest now?
This is Boca by Truckee, California. This is where Chinese people camped or lived during railroad construction. These people made railroad in this area.
And inside the mason jar?
There are nails.
From the railroad?
Yes, from the area. I picked up by the railroad.
Wow.
This is Reno. After Chinatown was burned down, many people moved into Reno. The location is where the Virginia Street and the First Street is. That was the first Chinese town. And I have pieces of china and a candle, red candle, because Chinese prostitutes were called red lights.
Okay. And so it's almost like the artifacts from each area are being unearthed.
Yeah.
Or they're unearthing themselves.
The idea is to let soil or landscape talk about histories. I'm not art historians, and these histories are not recorded. Every time I listen people's story or ask questions, all different story comes out, and I'm not here as a historian to tell which is truth or not. I don't know, but it is true that there were histories in this region, and there were Chinese people who built the railroad, helped those mining.
And who have all disappeared now.
Yeah, all disappeared. But landscape do remember, in my opinion, and I wanted to let landscape to speak instead of me talking about this.
Miya, there's a sound component to this exhibition that I'd like to know more about.
So I really wanted to have a sound. Just like I said, I wanted to let landscape to speak about the history. So I asked a music composer, Reiko Yamada, to make sound for my installation. And after our conversation, I asked her to create sound using a high-pitched tone and a really low tone.
And what do they represent?
So that, of course, visually speaking, a high tone represent this smoky, misty part of my sculpture.
Transition through to air.
Part.
Right.
And a low voice represent soil or soil waking up and started speaking out. But also she used sound of railroad.
Okay. So that's what that rumbling is in the
Yeah.
deep background. Wow, amazing.